Okay, so this year at our annual training, I will be teaching a course called The Cut Reflects the Position, is what I've named it. The reason I named it that is because we've all been in the position where we've been out on a limb walk and we're doing some reductions over a house or something, and you can see some old cuts in a tree, and a lot of guys will call them dog ears, but they're stubs and they're like at a 45-degree angle. And while you're out there kind of doing your own cuts, you look at that and you go, huh. And you can see where the climber had a hard time getting in the position to make a cut, and he'll do like a one-handed, maybe just a sketchy cut because he can't get out to where he's at. Maybe his tie-in isn't optimal, or he just maybe doesn't know how to get in the proper work positioning. But basically, the course that I put together is to kind of show some tips and tricks when it comes to working the ends of limbs. Another part of it is going to be focused around spar work. I'm going to show different spar anchors and stuff, and how to set ourselves up for being rescued. Hopefully that never is a thing. We never have to perform a rescue in that sense, but it's always good to set ourselves up for that. And different ways that we can set up the lanyards and our ropes to be cinching, so kind of bi-directional. But without getting too lost in that, this video I kind of want to go over the idea of what I'm talking about when positioning yourself on a limb walk. So we're out here on this walnut, and we'll say that the work order is to do some end weight reduction, maybe 2 to 3 feet. So we'll look at this limb here, and if I was rushing through this tree without thinking about planning or anything, I could just run out here and get to this point, and I'm like, okay, this was a limb that needed reduced back. I can throw my lanyard on like this, just wherever, and now I have to reach out there and cut. I can use my hand saw. Sometimes you're going to be up there in the sheets. So now I'm at this weird angle where I'm trying to make this cut and make a proper cut at that on this limb. I'm trying to do it fast. A lot of times you won't see somebody triangulate themselves like this if they're moving fast. It could be more something like, their lanyard's laid up low and their system is slacked and they're balancing their way out here to try to reach out and make a cut. But we just look at our work. We want to triangulate ourselves to the work that we're performing. So for this limb specifically, I would come this way, even though maybe it feels obvious because some of my other work is out this way. But instead, I'm kind of thinking about this in a path of my work. And I'm going to have to make multiple stops while working through this, but I'll always be triangulated and it will always be thought out. So for this limb, I would come probably around this way on this side of the limb. I don't know if you can see in the camera, but this limb kind of does a turn out towards the camera. Now, before I was back there, but now I'm right here. I got all my weight in my rope here, and now I'm kind of putting some weight into my lanyard for work positioning purposes. And now I can, handsaw again, reach up here and make a real fine cut here or here. Notice both hands on my handsaw, same with the chainsaw. I can do whatever I need to out here. Now, like I said, our work would be out this way for this whole section. So now, if I was on that side, I would have had to made a sketchy cut, and then I'm going to have to stretch my body out even farther. But now, because I've come around this side, I can take off my lanyard and continue to move out this way, following the flow of the limb itself. And now, you see my rope is pushing against this right here. I'm feeling okay with that. It's not a redirect per se, but it's what I would call a deflection. And we can use that almost like a pinch point as a spot to kind of triangulate ourselves, as long as it's big enough. You don't want to do it on something that's really small. But now that we're here, that was just one movement down through, I can get myself in a good position here to do whatever work that I need to do, here. Now I can make a cut here or here or here, and I can just change my body position over there to work that if I had to. But the point being is that I'm constantly thinking about my range of motion here. I'm thinking about if I completely lose my footing like that, where am I going to go? I'm going to hang right here. I'm not going to slip off. I'm not going to do anything weird or flip under the underside of the limb or something odd. You're always right here. The point of having a lifeline and a lanyard is to keep yourself safe. They're not there for looks. So the more we know how to utilize these things, the more better our work practices become and our efficiency in our day-to-day work becomes. These are some of the things and principles I'm going to be going over in this annual training this year, along with some tricks like with your lanyard. If you get out to a point to, maybe we've all been on those long limb walks where there is really no real redirects, or you are worried about a lanyard on something and it's slipping off if you were to take a fall. So you can do something as simple as taking your lanyard and wrapping it around the stem like this. Always go to, it's super quick. You don't have to think about any knots or twists. Just wrap it in time, and that keeps me pretty stable. I can still move my hips side to side. This will roll on the limb that you're on, and as I go up, you can see it's not coming up the limb, and the same works downwards. Another thing that you can do, if this isn't working for you, maybe you're in a sycamore or something where that's really still slipping up the limb, you can do something like wrapping it around like this and just bringing it right back to yourself. A little muncher like that. Now that's going to cinch on itself, and you're not going to go anywhere. It's not going to roll as easily as just wrapping it around the limb, but this is always a good option if you're worried about slipping. Yeah, stuff like this is kind of what